Welcome to part 2 of 3 videos covering the chop class with Joel Davis held in Kansas this January, where we chopped a 50 Merc. In the first video, you saw what happened on Friday night, which was mostly marking out the car and starting some relief cuts that you won't be able to do after the car has been braced up. Now we're going to move on to Saturday, where we actually start to cut the car apart.
Obviously, the roof would be moved forward, so we'd actually move this back and then line it up again with the bottom of the B pillar, right? So if we're going to keep it straight, that's how we would do it. But since we're doing slanted, we're going to cut these out, shrink and stretch them, change the shape of them a little bit on every which way, and you know, we'll make templates from side to side so it matches and all of that stuff.
So on a straight cut, if you kept the B pillar straight, you'd cut the entire roof skin away from any of that?
Well, no, you just cut this pillar out right underneath the drip rail.
Yeah.
Leave a little bit, you know, and then just move it back.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah. So you don't want to go up through the drip rail if you don't have to, because that's like one solid line. Again, you're using that as your baseline for your visual on your chop. So if you don't have to, some cars you have to, just to keep the quarter window shape the way it needs to be, like 41 to 48 Chevys. You know, sometimes you move that around and you move this whole thing around just to keep the quarter window longer and proportionate to the door window opening. So it just depends on the car. If you're shaving the drip rail, then it doesn't matter so much, right? Because you're not worried about keeping that line perfect. But anyways, otherwise you always try and work right under the drip rail.
After talking about what we're going to do on Saturday, it was time to finish bracing up the back window opening so that it would hold its shape perfectly during the rest of the chop process. And then it was time to start cutting on the exterior of the car, finally. First, we started cutting out the corners that we had marked the night before. Again, all of these pieces are marked so that when you go back to work on them later and put them back in the car, you know where they came from. Then it was time to do the very first cut through the A-pillars, and Joel took the honors on this one. As he offered some guidance on the passenger side pillar. Remember, everything you cut, you need to cut both sides identically. That way, when the chop is done, the roof will set level again. Then it was all hands on deck. Let's start cutting every line we'd marked on the car. On the window openings, we needed to cut all the spot welds out. That way we could modify both inner and outer pieces and not have to do them both at exactly the same time. Then it was time to start to cut across the back of the car under the window opening. Moving on to above the window opening, that way we could move the roof independent of the window opening itself.
Important. You'll see some guys cut around the window and they cut like an inch around the window and they think, oh boy, it's strong right there because that's where the brace is and the bends and stuff to make it all strengthy right there, right? Yeah, strengthy. So it's like melty. So anyway, what's bad about that, John?
It's going to shrink.
you're gonna have problems when you weld to it, right? And so then what's the other problem if you're welding right here and the brace is behind it? Anyone? Bueller? Huh?
Brace to the back of it.
Yeah, you can't hammer and dolly it because the brace is right there, you know, and it's being a pain in the butt. So you always want to get past any bracing. And I don't care, like, if you're cutting out a shoebox back window out of the junkyard to use on like another chop or something, cut it way up here, because the more material that you've got, the better. You know, you can still cut it on this belt line, but keep all this material around here and cut it. Like when we did that 52 Ford down in Fort Worth, I cut it all the way up here, and I'm darn glad that I did, because we used all that curvature all the way up till up here, you know, and then it just came together and it was like magic. Yeah, you want to think ahead when you're just cutting out stuff like that, and even from the junkyard, like you want to cut out more than what you need. And that's a general rule. It doesn't matter if you're cutting out quarters or roof stuff or anything, just cut out more than you think you need.
By lunch, just about all the cuts were done. We were very close to getting this roof separated from the car.
It's ready to cut off. What we're gonna do is we're gonna cut out this for starters, and we're gonna have to hold the roof. We are gonna cut all the way across here. We'll cut this first. This is gonna be third. And then this is going to be second over here, right? So we're going to cut these at the same time pretty much as cutting that back, and we'll just have a guy on each side. Take those, Robert. Very good. There you go. All right. Now you guys just have to share up there. Yeah. Exactly. We're done. Right. So you want to line up your drip rail, because that's the first thing that you see and all of that. And your drip rail in this inside corner right here on the A-pillar is like kind of the beef of what you want to line up first, right? We'll get one side tacked, and then we're going to end up tacking the other side, and then we're going to end up splitting what we need to here and matching everything up and getting it nice and matchy. But basically, you want to work your corners to where this corner and your bottom edge of the drip rail and your top edge of the drip rail works first. And then you're going to match these corners up to where that matches, right? And this corner matches up. So instead of working your way from the center or whatever and then trying to figure out your corners, you want to at least get one corner. Do it the easy way, get this corner right where it needs to be, and then get other corners, you know, sorted out. So that way you're just making it easy on yourself later. And the same thing all the way around the car. When we're doing all of these different B-pillar things, you're gonna get the B-pillar kind of blocked in there. But then when we get these different pieces in here, you want to make sure that your corner matches up and focus on that first, because otherwise if your corner doesn't match up and you start welding things in, you're just fixing other things, right? So we're trying to plan ahead and trying to get everything to where it'll go the first time. Now sometimes there is some different little pieces that we're going to have to like trim and you know, there's different thicknesses here, so it's like thinner up here than it is down here, so we have to work that a little bit to get our corner to match up, right? So this will end up getting cut a little bit higher up here, and then we're gonna figure out what curve we want down here, right? So that'll be a shrinker stretcher thing, and then we just make a template. We're gonna do the driver's side first because I can look at it over there and see what's going on, and then we'll make a template, do the passenger side when we get to that point. But I got flow imagineering because we're imagineering the flow. So anyway, you can take that one to the bank because that's important. So on this bottom one, you want to gap it out always on all this stuff. You want to gap it out a little bit more than you need to, and then you just fill it in later.
Then it was time to gently massage the A-pillars to lean in a little bit to match the upper A-pillars after they'd been chopped.
There.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so that's good. We got plenty of movement there anyways. On this one, we might make a little bit more of a relief cut right here so it'll fold over just a little bit more. Yeah. Let's go right up, do like this, where we're kind of right up on that edge.
Ready?
Yeah. Well, there, that worked real good. So we broke that apart from that. There we go. One of these little clamps here. But obviously, like right there, you're 7 1/4, it's 7 1/4, but I mean, you gotta just pay attention and make sure that you're doing it the same on both sides.
After measuring it out, we realized the roof was going uphill just the tiniest bit. So we went back to the C-pillars and trimmed a little bit more off to make it set nice and level. Those two cuts did it, and you can see the roof sits perfect now. You can also see how much we've changed the back section of the roof in this shot. Then we went up to the top of the A-pillars so we could cut off these corners to allow the top of A-pillars to splay out to match the new modified lower A-pillars.
Same from side to side, right? So you've got it in the same spot because it's real easy to have it a little too far back or a little too far forward or something. But if we look at it, basically, like right here, we could cut it off about right here and not have the rest of that curve, and then trim that up in there, and it's gonna fit. And so we're gonna have this nice little tight corner. And you don't want to make it too much tighter than this front corner, but that looks pretty close, right? So it's all about kind of matching curvatures and different things like that. And if you remember from before, it was like super wide up here. And again, if you make it close to that curvature, you can use one of those corner pieces from like a 4-door or something when you're making the stainless part. So you're kind of thinking ahead there too. Need to trim anything else, then here, turn it 90 degrees. Yeah, like that. Like this.
Old boy told me if you can step across it, you can weld it.
Yeah, give her a little heat there. So that's fine on these corners and such. And then there we go.
Once the A-pillars were started to get tacked back together to lock down their place, Joel showed the whole class a new trick using TIG rod as filler rod while MIG welding.
What we're doing here is we take a rod that fills where we want to. And instead of building some big ass bridges, we just fill it in here. Basically just doing a bunch of spot welds in a row, and you're doing just little spurts. You can just cross these little bridges right here, right? And that's way easier. Right? Blew out just a little bit. You just pull it down. That looked like a goofy gap, right? Like that looked like not fun, and it's like, how are you gonna fix that? But you just make it easy on yourself, and you got a little bit of filler rod, keep some of this stuff around for everything, and you're filling it in with real metal. It's gonna grind out real nice, all of that stuff. The big thing's keeping it cool. Again, if you can't touch it, you know, after welding it, like I can touch it and feel it's warm right now, so it's like you still want to cool it down. But generally I would do that much, cool it down, whatever, in between these little passes, and then I just go to the other side and do that. So that's how I let things cool down pretty naturally. So, oh, here on, buddy. I'm gonna give you a tip. So you're just like this. What I like to do is I like to steady the gun with my hand, and then you want to be about this far away, right? Ready? Yeah, close your eyes. Right? See how nice that was? You just want to be about that far away. Now, give her a squeeze. Okay, and you want to go kind of from back one side to the other, so you're getting both pieces of sheet metal there. All right, very good. Let it cool just a hair. There you go. So what we want to do here is get it towards the back, and then this is where it kind of matches up, right? So we want to do that. We got this to where it's crooked, so we want to get it bent over again to where it's gonna fit right. And sometimes what you got to do is you just got to literally just go take it over to the edge on something and beat this corner down, because you've got a bunch of different waves and stuff here. So anyway, yeah, you fit it to where it's going to be about happy, right about there. And you leave this long for right now, so you've got a little bit of stuff to play with, right? But yeah, you cut that, and then you get that to where it's not all twisty. So we got a little 1/8 inch gap. I want my cup almost hitting the metal there. Go across. So we get on that. And then I'm gonna move this around. In there. So we're going to cut this first and get the bottom section sort of clocked where we want it. Obviously we know that it's going to go right up to this corner, right? That's what we're shooting for. So we got to get a straight edge going from there to there. It's going to have a pretty tight gap because it's got a pretty tight gap now, but we're just starting with the body side, and it's going to go about right like that. And then we get that cut, and then we know from here to here what the length needs to be, right? So we cut that piece down to match, and then we go from there. So as you can see from back here, you know, it's like, all right. You know, what you end up doing is actually adding a little bit of thickness to the roof back here, right? You don't want to go too much because otherwise it looks all muffin toppy with how much is going here, right?
While slanting the B-pillars does look pretty cool, it is a lot more work because now you have to reform both door and quarter window corners all the way around.
Hey there, welcome back. I'm Mr. Melty, and this is day 2 of the chop class. We just got this 50 Mercury, kind of where we want it. You know, it's chopped in the front, chopped in the back, and then tomorrow we'll take care of this back window business. But we started on the B-pillar, we started on getting the door tops, and we're doing what's now called flomagineering. So we're trying to get all of these curves and everything right where we want it, but it's looking pretty good. We come over here, Travis, and you get a whole kind of view from the front 3/4 and all of that. You'll see we chopped 4 inches out of the front here, and we just settled this back down until it was happy. So tomorrow you'll see more progress on our chop here, and we should have pretty much the outer skin and the door tops all done. Slanting the B-pillars takes a little bit longer than doing it straight, but we got a good class this weekend and things are going great. Robert over here.
Hey, there's way too much stuff to say this is an eye-opener just from the very start, just blocking the car out to dismantling it and letting it all spring out and then tucking it back, just
Melted back together.
yeah, it melted back together really nice.
Get your mind blown this weekend?
Pretty much, you know, and Joel's a fantastic presenter. It makes it worth coming to just because, you know, you feel like even if you have no skills, that you tackle a project like this with a couple of buddies, it turned out good.
Jeff, as a host, what do you think?
Hey, I had a great time. This is my second class with Joel. It's always fun to be around. We had 20 guys come together, execute a vision under Joel's direction. It was amazing. I think we all got to see something transform in front of our eyes that we weren't quite sure what to expect. But everybody learned something, and they took away maybe a new skill and definitely some more confidence that they can go home and take what they've learned and put it to use on their own projects. So it was a great weekend.
Excellent. Danny?
Well, I learned that there's a lot of cool people, no matter age, size, whatever shape. I really enjoyed the class. Everything about the chop. I've watched so many videos and I just get bored with it, but actually being hands-on, it's an eye-opener.
You were awake all weekend, Danny.
All week.
Brian?
Yeah, coming in probably the least experienced of anyone here. I really appreciated, for one, everyone sharing their knowledge with me and being so open to helping me. Really appreciate that. And Joel, you all kept me laughing and made me feel part of the team. Taught me a lot, really. I mean, you definitely get your money's worth and more with the class, and you have a really good time if you enroll. My favorite part was, you know, learning about the tools, learning how to weld, just seeing the process, and just being around y'all. So I really appreciate it.
Very cool. Thank you. Michael?
Probably how you reuse all the factory corners around the windows and just stitch weld them back in. It's just cool to make.
Mike?
Guys, I really enjoyed learning how to weld, learning how to use the English wheel, kind of messing with the metal shrinker, just, you know, all the different tools that I'd never used before, learning some skills I'd never used before, working with people I'd never met before, and how, I don't know, everybody had a great sense of humor and worked well together, and, you know, under Joel's leadership, accomplished a lot in a short amount of time. It was well worth the money for the class and time well spent.
For more information or to sign up for Chop Class with Joel Davis, go to Chop Class with Joel Davis on Facebook. All the information will be there for where you can sign up for a class near you. If there's not one near you, contact Joel and you can set one up. That is it for part 2 of the 3-part Chop Class with Joel Davis chop on a 50 Merc here in Kansas this January. Now, the next section will be coming up in just a few days' time. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you on the next one.